Your journey starts today. You've got one life to live. Love yourself, be kind to others, break free and let your spirit soar. Empower life with Cleopatra will help you awaken the best version of you. Empower life with Cleopatra. Empower life with Cleopatra.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Can you guys hear me? Can you all
Yes,
hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great, great, because it felt like I was muted for a minute. But good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. Okay, if you're here and you're a guy, put something in the chat. Say hi, so I can say a very big, big, big happy Father's Day to you guys. Welcome to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who's in the chat? I want to know who's in the chat. Who's in the chat? Hi guys. Hi guys. Come on, come on, come on. Get somebody share this link with everybody so they can come in and join us tonight's show, guys. Oh my, in fact, I'm gonna share it myself now and say to guys, come in. We are live. We are live, guys. Come in. Come in, guys. It's so good to be here. I can't even begin to tell you. I cannot even begin to tell you. Guys, it's Father's Day today. So welcome, guys. Good morning once again. Good afternoon. Good evening, my Empower Royals. Welcome to the show. Tonight, we are ripping the lead off a conversation that most people are too scared to touch because, like behind all the high heels, the hair, the high functioning perfection, and everything else, the fabulosity that women like to be, there are some untold battles that are just boiling beneath the surface that tonight we are going to open up. So, welcome to the final chapter of the Girl Talk series, guys. And honey, we have saved the best show, the most explosive show for the last. Tonight, we are asking, guys, what's really going on inside women's mind? If I knew that, I'll be a millionaire, honestly. Why do some women bring secrets into a new relationship like a ticking time bomb? Why are dildos replacing intimacy? And why do some women feel the need to manipulate, control, and even abuse their men? And I'm not just talking about verbal abuse or emotional abuse, I'm talking about physical abuse. And can a woman ever be truly satisfied, or are we one step away from wanting more? And what's this thing about us never being satisfied with our weights? Hmm? Honestly, I don't understand. So this isn't just regular girl talk. You know what they call emotional surgery, but this time without anesthetic. So just buckle up, guys, and take a deep breath. And if you're ready to get on this show, just type "I'm ready," all right, and then we'll begin this show. Now, I've had some conversations with some guys over the week and even today, and they're asking for a men's show because they think it's not fair for me to have a three-part series for women and I'm not having one for men. So we are going to be having the men's show soon. But if you are a guy and you would like to be a guest on the show, please reach out, right? Send an email to me at empowerlifewithcleopatra@gmail.com. That's empowerlifewithcleopatra@gmail.com. And don't worry, you don't have to go to any studio. It's going to be right in the comfort of your own home. I'll just send you a link and you just join, and then you can just let it all out as well. I want to know about you guys as well, all right? So massive love to my amazing subscribers. Thank you so much for your support. And if you're new here, welcome home. We are on a mission to hit the 1,000 mark subscribers by the 30th of June. Today is the 15th. Can you guys believe it? I've only got 15 days to make this happen. So please show your girl some love by subscribing. I am begging you, please, just subscribe. All right. And to my returning royals, thank you so much. You know, you're my co-host and you are the mojo of this show. So tonight, I just want to welcome you all once again. I have some amazing queens on the show. You've seen few of them before. You've seen two of them before, actually. But we've got one more that I'm going to be introducing in a minute. But I just wanted to quickly remind you again, if you're worried about something, or you got a story you want to share, a confession to make, please also send it to empowerlifewithcleopatra@gmail.com. I've had quite a few messages actually. People have sent me lots of confessions, but the problem is I don't want to be the one reading all these confessions. I would rather you guys came and said it yourself. But I'm going to be having this series, a confession series as well. All right, at some point. So let me introduce my amazing queens behind the wisdom that we're going to be imparting tonight. All right, let's welcome our wonder fabulosity called Neville. She's a Roman queen. She's a model, a speaker, a cancer survivor, a transformation coach. She's walked through the fire and now she's lighting fire in others. All right. She's here to impact her words of wisdom tonight. So let's please just welcome her tonight on the show. We've got Cindy, the amazing Cindy, a mental health advocate. She's an IT project manager. She's a mom of two. She's been through a lot as well. She came also to share her story on how she was able to overcome postnatal depression. So guys, in fact, just go to my channel. Quite a lot of their shows are on my channel because they've been on this show quite a few times. And in fact, they're going to be co-hosts at some point very, very soon. Okay. So tonight, Cindy is here to call out those areas where our agenda need to improve and do better as well. All right. And finally, last but certainly not the least, Mercy G. She's got 24 years in mental health and community advocacy. She's a trailblazer and a healer. She's a founder of One Life, One Love. And she's changing lives with trauma-informed care and soul-shifting leadership. Tonight, she exposes the truth women really speak about, especially when they are the ones causing the damage, right? You know what women can be like. They are the ones lighting the fire, but yet they're pretending. So, ladies, let's talk. Why do some women, why do they not expose or declare certain things before they get married to their exes, about their exes when they're in a relationship? Why the deceit? Is it because they're trying to make sure that the guy doesn't leave them? Is it a survival thing? Or is it just straight up manipulation? Why don't they disclose certain things, secrets about them? And I will start with Neville.
Hi, hello everyone. Happy Father's Day to all the men, biological fathers and otherwise. Happy Father's Day. I think it depends because there's fear of again rejection, and if depending on the culture they've grown up in, people still like to pretend that people are saints. So, so the women may be afraid to declare, things that happened in the past relationship, and also it depends on how bad the situation is because we all pass judgment. I think they're afraid of that judgment. So until you test the waters and see whether this person is receptive to or will be understanding, then they tend to keep these things but then that leads to more frustration because if you've been traumatized or whatever in the past, that seeps into the new relationship and causes damage. So I think it's best to declare to an extent, to the extent you feel comfortable with, but I think it's fear. And then so it's the fear or pretending to be a saint also. If you are too judgmental as well, then you don't want to declare the things that you may have done wrong in the past for fear of being judged. So again, all comes to fear and control.
Very true. Very true. Okay, Mercy?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm not sure if it's fear because sometimes there's this element of body count, you know. For us women, it's like the body count for men, they can go and they can boast about, oh, I've been with this
Ah,
many,
okay.
but for us women, it's like, even though you may have had a higher body count, you're not going to share that because it's like, it's not your business. Like, I'm not asking you about yours. Why are you asking me about mine? Let's deal with what we have now. And so for some women, maybe because of, how they were beforehand, they don't want to necessarily have to share that. And remember, sometimes these things can be used against you in a
Yeah.
relationship, right? Let's keep it real. How many relationships have, ended with, oh, yes, and you're the one who, yes, Tom, Dick, and Harry. And then if you add
Mm.
Solo, if you add Jacob, if you add how, yes, you told me about all of them in the heat of the moment. Let's keep it real. Some of these things can be used against you. So, sometimes it's just because, one, you don't want to have that thing used against you, or it's, let me get to know the real me first before I let you know the real me. Sometimes we just have to take our time because these things can be a little bit, and people are judgmental. I think men are more judgmental about women than women are about men, and
Mm.
that's the truth. Men can
Yes.
be open about it, but you tell a man that you've had maybe 8 partners before them. 8? What kind of woman are you? I didn't know you were
Yeah.
that loose.
Yeah.
But if a man says 15, 20, it's like, oh, well done.
Yeah.
What's your type?
Exactly.
Is it the big
Exactly.
one, the one with the big nyash, or the one with the which ones do you like? You know, they start gisting about it like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a it's a cool thing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Cindy.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to every man out there. um, as usual, every answer that I have on this forum is based on the background of my faith. So that's where I always come from. Um, for me, I agree with what you've all said. It's true. Those things can happen, and at the same time, I also believe in full disclosure. And it may, not really about how many relationship with you've had, but there are other issues.
Mhm.
Okay, for instance, like if somebody is going through an abortion or something, those are things that full disclosure is good, especially, and it depends on it also depends on the man.
Mhm.
Some men are very insecure, you know, so it
Yeah.
depends on the man. And if you have a good man, the man would tell you, look, I wasn't a saint myself. So why should I be bothered by, you understand? So
Yeah.
I just believe that we should let it out there. But obviously, like you've all said, not at the beginning of the relationship because you don't even know where the relationship is going. But it gets
Yeah.
to a point where you begin to get comfortable with one
Yeah.
another and you feel this is the right time to speak. Because if you don't speak, timing is very key.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
don't speak, you will never be able to say it again because it gets to a point where the relationship has advanced so much that you become afraid that am I going to lose this person, or how is this relationship going to turn out, But the thing is, if the person really cares about you, there shouldn't be any reason to be afraid and if the person leaves you, then that's not the person for you.
That's
Right.
right.
Be honest.
Mm.
Because
That's
I
right.
mean, if anybody cannot accept you the way you are,
Yeah.
they should take a walk.
That's right. Don't let it all hit you on your way out, girl.
Yeah. So because this, and full disclosure from the beginning prevents a lot of heartache, and
Mm-hmm.
it prevents deception, and
Yeah.
it prevents lack of trust. Because you see,
Yeah.
when trust is gone from a relationship, it becomes a big issue.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
I
Let me
agree.
give a shout out. Let me give a shout out to those in the chat. Hello, Robin. Go easy on us, men and ladies, he says. We will try. We will try. But this is about us, Robin. Actually, we are trying to tell ourselves off. We're trying to, talk about areas that we need to improve so that we can be better people for you guys. All right. So we are trying to be very hard on ourselves tonight. So it's not even about you guys tonight. For all this coming, all right. We're gonna have a men's series again, right? And yes. And Solomon, Mr. Solomon, thank you so much for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Robin says, but we all know that for men's partner count, you should divide by 3. Honestly, Robin. And however, in some comedy shows, e.g., Friends, I think they say for women you should take their number and multiply it by 3. Is it now? Is it? Hi, Bumi. Thank you so much for joining. Chidi, thank you. Chidi says, I like full disclosure, but it depends on the circumstances. Timing is key. You're right. I think we agree with you on that one. Timing is definitely key. But like what Messi said earlier as well, some guys, they can start, using it against you later. I don't know why they do that, but they use it against you later. Anyway, let's go on to the next issue about the bedroom, right? It's not all roses. I can assure you. Some women are faking it in the bedroom.
A
Some
lot
have
of
given
them.
up altogether, and some have found satisfaction and in silence with a machine. Why? Should a woman feel guilty for turning to toys if a partner cannot satisfy her? Is this rejection or a desperate cry for intimacy that goes beyond the physical? Why are women resorting to self help in the bedroom? Cindy.
Um, yeah, I will start with this. First thing, God created sex for procreation, right?
Hmm?
And even if it can make animals also procreate, so he created male and female so that they can procreate. So you ask yourself, and when you use toys, right? When you use toys, are you what's the difference between using a toy and you complaining about the men watching pornography? I'm going somewhere with all this. So I'm throwing the questions out there so that we can I'm trying to play the angel's advocate here. You know, the men you're complaining about, saying, okay, I should use it, but you're complaining about your partner saying he's watching pornography. You're not different as far as I'm concerned. And then if you know, and there's when you begin to use toys in the bedroom, is a slippery slope, especially for believers. Because you see, when you start using, just like when a man is watching porn, after a while, he start comparing his wife or his partner with whatever he's watching in porn. And then when you start using machine on yourself, where does it stop? It's like you try to taste an apple that you have never tasted before. And then you find the apple very sweet and lovely. And then you think, okay, let me try the orange. You've never tasted the orange before as well. You try the orange. Then you keep going and you go to pizza and all that. And then where does it stop? Because you set a standard for yourself in your head with your toy. And the question I'm going to ask here is that when you go through immigration and your sanitary towels are exposed, come out and fall down and everybody can see, your reaction will be different from when your toy drops out. Because how would you feel if you can feel shame in that toy falling out in immigration and everybody can see it and you can feel shame, then that means something.
Okay, thank
That's my
you. All right.
opinion.
Okay. All right. Neville?
So the question is, well, so we're talking about women using alternative means to pleasure themselves
That's
due
right.
to partner's inability to satisfy them sexually. Um, yes, I agree on one part. Sex is, made for procreation, but it's also for the both parties to enjoy themselves outside of the procreation. On the matter of using toys, again, it depends on the couple if they're happy with that. I mean, if one is doing it in secret, then that is a problem. It's a huge problem. If it is part of their, because each household is different, they know what they're doing with themselves. If it's a secret matter and behind the other person's back, then it is a big problem. Likewise, the man or woman also watching porn and beginning to do all sort of things. I'm not a porn person, so I think it depends on the partners. So it's either, are you saying, if we go that way, that if Cindy, if the partner is not satisfying the wife, if the man is not satisfying the wife, and the wife has hopefully spoken about it to the partner, they have had discussions, and the problem still persists. So will the remedy be for them to incorporate these things together with themselves, or for them to get a divorce, or for her to go and commit adultery, which I'm against? So it depends on the household. What people, one has to be careful about this thing. I will be careful about this. I mean, what people do in their home is their thing. However, not to the point where it becomes detrimental, to their, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, and all those sort of things. So again, these things, I sound as sitting on the fence on this matter, but I am not, because each household is different and people need to relate, with themselves as they see fit, in a safe and healthy, within safe and healthy boundary. That's all I would say to that.
Perfect. Thank you. Mercy?
Wow. Toys. Girls and their toys. Is it the same as boys and their toys? I don't know. Is it the same? For a long time, I think sexuality with women has been on a hush hush. We don't, it's almost like, our sister Cindy was talking about, if the dildo fell out, like, would you feel embarrassed? You know, for me, I'm not someone who easily gets embarrassed. I'm not one. I don't. I prefer real things. I don't really assign myself to anything plastic or fake. But if it's something like that fell out and it's mine, I'll own it. Like, listen, I'm not. I need to get satisfied here. Let's keep it real. It's something that's pleasurable. And if I'm married and my husband doesn't know about it, that is where I think the problem comes. It's just the same as him stepping out or me stepping out of the relationship. Anything that is supposed to be about pleasure and togetherness, I think we have to be careful of. But at the same time, I mean, can you imagine if you're not sexually satisfied? Your husband has got a small penis and is not doing anything for you, and you've tried to
Two
teach him other
minutes.
ways. 2 minutes and he's done, and you're like, it didn't even hit the top of my inside, and I need me some more. Like, at least go 10. Like, give me some 10 minutes. Like, with 2 minutes, will be like, come on, let's help me work through it. But in all seriousness, satisfaction is a part of it, because if you're not satisfied, what will eventually happen is you will start to wonder. Your eyes will start to wonder. You will start to think about other things. And I believe that, I'm also of faith. I don't kind of like to box myself into the Christian thing, but I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. And I also believe that, the two becoming one is about sharing intimacy. It's about understanding each other. It's about intertwining. So if you're going to do anything like that, make sure that your partner's aware. Have that conversation. It may be difficult, but it will benefit you in the long run. Either that, or teach him how to satisfy you without it. We don't, that's another thing we don't do. How many of us really teach our partners how to satisfy us? You know, Maybe this didn't work for me. Or can you maybe, if the penis isn't the right size, can you maybe use other things or do other things? Have that conversation. Why are we afraid to talk about sex even with our partners? I don't get it. It's like, this is the person you're intimate with. Why can you not tell him where to touch you and it makes you feel good? Why can you not tell him about what foreplay works for you? Why can you not tell him about, how to make you scream? And you're just there taking whatever he's given, and it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes both
Honestly,
ways.
I agree completely with everyone. And I think when it comes to, I mean, I don't own any of those sort of things because it's just not who I am. But sometimes you can, when a woman actually spoken to a lady who has toys like that, actually she has them in different sizes and colors. And she said, um, she's actually been to the airport before, and yes, it fell off. And she just said, "Oh, thank you very much." And she put it there. She didn't care. She did not give a damn
That's off.
about what anybody was going to say. She just,
Yeah.
because you should ask her why she has it, and then she can tell you why, if you care to know. Otherwise, zip it, you know?
Yeah, because
And that was
I
what
was
she said to me.
Some
Yeah,
of them name them. Some women name them.
yeah.
This one is Kofi. That one is Albert.
No one is coming. That's not no one
yeah,
is
yeah.
Jerry.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that some women name them. But yeah, it's a thing. But then on the flip side too, there are men who like toys, and
Hmm.
there are women can't handle it. You
Yeah.
know, I remember I had this is a really quick one. A male friend who was telling me that, oh, he really loves his wife. They're really cool. We've been talking for years, but he's a friend. But the problem is he likes toys and she doesn't, and so he wanted to introduce handcuffs. She
Oh,
he had
okay.
asked her, like, yeah, well, we're getting into it. We're talking about sex and relationships. So
Yep.
he wanted to ask her, look, I'm not satisfied. There's some things that keep me more interested. And she wanted to know. And when he told her, well, I like handcuffs, the woman started crying. He said, the woman said, what did I do wrong? Why do you want to handcuff me? Like, what? She had a complete meltdown, and he uses this as a way to justify looking outside. And I'm like, well, you can't do that. You have to find another way. This is something that you committed to. That's your wife. You have, had a commitment to each other. So you have to find another way. If she's not into the handcuffs, find something else that you're both into.
Mm.
But what do
Okay.
you do? Maybe I'll throw it out there. What do you do if you want the dildo and you want your man to get involved and he doesn't get involved and he doesn't want to and he doesn't want to know? What do you
Mm.
do?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes, I
but
mean, I was going to just sort of add that for people listening, we are not, no one is being judged. So, and just as, taking the spirit, we are talking about being open and honest within your relationship. So it's not a judgmental situation. So,
yeah.
and yes. Also, I mean, so Mercy, this man who said he likes it handcuffed, was it that he wanted himself handcuffed, or he wants to handcuff his wife?
Both. He wanted to.
Nasty,
He
nasty,
wanted to. He wanted
nasty.
to be
Yeah,
domineering, and he
yeah, but
wanted
the
her
thing
to
is,
domineer her
in
too.
that kind
Oh
of
my
relationship, if you're
goodness.
going to do that, in that kind of relationship, you should explain to her what you're doing because it's new to her. She's never done it. So you
Yeah.
just brought out the anchor and you think you're trying, you need
Oh
to
no, no, he
explain.
didn't just bring it out. He said
Yeah.
it was a conversation he had with her. Like he has a very good background. He's, social health and social care manager, and you wouldn't think for a second looking at him that he's into that kinky stuff. You would not believe it. And I was like,
What was the
okay,
quiet ones, darling? What was the
it's the
quiet ones?
quiet ones. You gotta watch those quiet ones,
You know?
those dressed up and looking fine.
Child.
Good
Mm.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, this topic, we can stay on this topic for a long time because there's so many things that you can touch, so many areas. I mean, it can be so many reasons why women resort to that. I am not an advocate for it because sometimes you can get to a point where you become so addicted that no
Yeah.
matter what you do, the man will not get satisfied. The man will never satisfy you
Right.
because you are doing it in such a way that will pleasure you. So when the man can't do it that way, and you might not want to tell the man because you don't want the man to think, oh, she's loose.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know,
Yeah, because
do you know what I mean?
you start comparing. That's what
Yeah.
happens. And if
So,
something
so,
begins
so,
to
oh,
dominate you, it probably isn't right.
yeah. I mean, have had situations before where somebody said to me that their partner asked them one day that they'd like to go through the other side.
The backside. Yeah.
And She said to him, in fact, that the relationship ended because she said to him, look, there's only one thing that's meant to come out of there. Nothing's meant to go in. So that's it.
Thank
But
you.
these are really true. We're going raw tonight, guys, because this is the finale of the Girl Talk series. And we're going raw because these are issues that we have within relationships that people normally would not say. Nowadays,
Hmm.
I know that usually some women who will come onto the social media and say, oh, my husband's a 2 minute man and blah, 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 and stuff like that. I mean, those are the crazy ones. But if there are ways that we can actually, I mean, for example, if a woman decides to go through these dildos or toys or whatever because they want to satisfy themselves, because the man's organ is very small, I don't know what to say about that. Maybe you can talk about it. Find ways. I think that people keep talking about enlargement. How does that work? I don't know if there are herbs that they can take, if there are special pumps that they could use or whatever. Yeah, Neville, please help me because I
No,
don't.
no. But I think there's always this emphasis on, oh, it's small. There are big ones that don't know what to do. So
There
let's
you
not
go.
give
True
people
that.
complex.
True
There you
that.
go.
Please.
This is true. This is
True
very true
that.
as well. This is very true. This is very true. It's not what you have, it's how you work it,
For real.
right?
Yeah.
It's how you work it.
I just
Okay,
want
yeah.
to say something. Yeah.
Cindy, go ahead.
Because I just read a comment by somebody, Mr. Solomon, and talking about religious sisters and all that. And
Yeah.
it's true because it's like a lot of, you can't be, you can't just be you can't be a wood with your husband and
No.
expect that there will be no problem.
Yeah.
You need to discuss these issues. Yes, being a Christian doesn't mean you shouldn't discuss it with your husband.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
If you can't open
Absolutely.
up with your husband, who can you open up with? You
Yeah.
understand? So
Yeah,
we need,
yeah.
Yeah.
for my Christian sisters out there, talk to your husband about these things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think let me just quickly never okay, go ahead then now.
One more
I
thing,
need
and
to-
then
yeah.
I won't carry on. So it's again, to Cindy's point, the discussion as well as you should be a participant in this action because
Yes.
you're not there to be done to. You're there to participate. It's a partnership. It's both parties, getting
Yeah,
involved in the
Yes.
intimacy, the act of intimacy. It's not
that's
somebody
right.
just
Yeah.
sort of being passive. There's no point because being passive
Exactly.
does not mean that you're the best Christian.
That's right.
Exactly,
You have to be
exactly.
involved.
You know, absolutely, absolutely. And I was just gonna go through the chat because what you said just now, I think Robin has mentioned something about that to say either way, the match means there are lots of relationships going on in which men aren't participants. Why? Because women are not open enough to disclose certain things to them, so they don't even know that they're not satisfying the woman, and then you find out she gets stroppy, she gets irritable, she gets rude, she's throwing tantrums unnecessarily or whatever, and you don't really know what's wrong with her, and you're thinking,
Right.
what have I done? But she's not saying you're frustrated, she's frustrated, and then there's trouble. So women, we need to change that. That's what this show is about. We need to change that. Let them know they are not mind readers. That's why
Yeah.
we say what's really going on in the minds of women. That's what the point of this show is about. Women, we need to be real and let them know. And Solomon says everyone is right about body count. True. Bumi gives us heart. Thank you. And Chidi says, I love what Cindy says about sex and procreation. True. And Solomon says, women resorting to self help in the bedroom is a cry for therapy and a cry for the couple. 1,000,000%, Solomon. You're very correct. And Chidi says, porn is a very slippery road. I highly advise all to avoid at all costs. So, is toys a better way than another man? And really say sorry to Billy. It's all right, really. Thanks so much for joining. It's another question. Is toys a better way than another man? Which I don't agree. Toys are not, but women use them. And sometimes they actually have, oh, by the way, they actually have parties for toys. Have you guys heard that?
Parties. Yeah. Yep.
Yes,
Ah, yeah.
There
they
are
throw
sex parties.
parties.
Yep. Yep.
Yes. Anyway, feedback in the bedroom, Solomon says, is necessary so partners can improve. Religious sisters, especially, are too shy because they want to give the impression of being innocent, which is not necessary. Absolutely. Riri says, all is down to communication and to say how you want it. also, and I think she's going to continue. Now, guys, I'm going to show you this video. All right, I'm going to show you this. In fact, a couple of videos, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. All right, let's share the first one. And there's no volume because I don't want to be flagged. But just watch it.
Oh my goodness.
And there's a baby behind. Watch the baby on the floor. Look, there you go. That's a baby. Right. Can you guys believe that? Okay, I'm going to play the second one now, right?
This has been the speculation when it comes to domestic abuse against men. But are we going to stop believing this? Recently, a chilling video of a wife brutally hitting her husband with a cricket bat came to light. The incident happened in the Alwar district of Rajasthan. Even more disturbing was the situation of the couple's child, who was shivering with fear while witnessing all this from a corner. There are multiple cases of women being victims of domestic abuse by husbands and in-laws. In fact, the National Family Health Survey reported that 1 in 3 women face intimate partner violence. But why such an uproar on the scene? Here, the video in question was about domestic violence against men, an issue that's not usually taken seriously. The husband, who's a principal, married his wife 7 years ago after he fell in love with her. But the husband alleged that after some time of their marriage, his wife started beating him up for no reason. He faced physical and mental harassment for a long time by his wife. But now, as he said, the wife has crossed all limits. He's moved the Bhiwandi court to seek justice and take action against his wife.
सामान सारा तोड़ देती है, सारे मेरे जितने भी कपड़े हैं सब के सब उसने कैंची से काट दिए हैं, कुछ जला दिए हैं। वो उसका स्वभाव ही इस तरह का है और वो
and so on and so forth and so on. Why do some women feel the need? I mean, society screams when a man hits a woman, and rightly so. But when she scratches, slaps, and humiliates or breaks things in the house, do we excuse it by saying, oh, she's just a drama queen, or she's joking, or it's just, she's just having her monthly flu or whatever? Why? Why do we, what makes a woman become physically abusive, and why do male victims feel ashamed to speak up? So these are two questions in one. Why do women feel the need to abuse some women, not all women, because I've never done that? Why do some women feel the need to abuse their men? And why do men feel ashamed to speak up? Mercy.
Yeah, it's so sad to see. It's heartbreaking on any part, to anyone that's ever experienced abuse, whether male or female. But recently there was a Ghanaian woman abusing her partner in front of the child, and she was even calling the child. Can you hear what this man has said? And she was hitting him with all sorts of things, and it was just so disturbing. She was arrested, thank God, because she was getting the child to film her abusing the man. And there's this element of some women who feel that they have the right to, because they're the woman, and they know that the man will be in greater trouble if he lays a hand on her, because society allows women to be the weaker vessel, or says that women are the weaker vessel. And if a man lays his hand on the woman, the man is in trouble. And we really need to get rid of this narrative, because some women are doing these things because of this narrative, because, oh, I know he can't touch me, so I'm going to go ahead and do whatever I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and hit him. I'm going to go, no, he has to listen to me, is what I say. And unfortunately, a lot of these women have observed this behavior. This is not something that just happens. This is just as the men do, just as the male abusers have observed. these female abusers have also observed
Mhm.
and are taking on those behaviors that they've observed as children,
Mhm.
and they feel that it's okay. So it's either their mother has been abusive to their father, or their father has been abusive to their mother and they've observed it. These are not new things. We need to crack down on it. We need to say no to it. We need to encourage our men to speak up about it. That there is no shame whatsoever that
Shame.
a man can hold back because, I'm going to give a quick scenario. I know that I'm quite a big size woman, right? I've got good body. Like I used to do shot put, quite masculine. I took my dad's physique, and I know that there was somebody that in secondary school, I used to really have a thing about boys in secondary school. Like, if you try and tell me, oh, because you're a girl, I'm not going to hit you, that's my trigger right there. I would switch on you. Oh, no, please do hit me. I want to show you that I've got as much power as you. And I had to quickly thank God for his mercy and thank God for his word that I had to quickly change the way I was. Why? Because there were certain things that I had observed, and I could easily see how I could be that person. I could be that one that would challenge a man because why? I've seen too many times that a man has challenged a woman, and you will never be the one to do this to me. I will do it to you before you do it to me. And that is
Mm.
unfortunately sometimes what it is.
Yeah.
There are women who have seen their female, their mothers abused, and so they put on this
Yeah.
hardness that no way is a man going to even look at me in the wrong way. I will get to you before you. I will show you who's got power. I'm bigger than you. I'm better than you. I don't care how big you are or how small you are. I will deal with you. And we need it. It takes the grace of God, and I say this. It takes the grace of God to remove these characteristics, and it also takes law and speaking up because these
Yeah.
women have got away with it for too long. And
Mm.
so I think now we're more aware, we're encouraging our men more. Speak up. There is no shame in
No shame.
it, none whatsoever. Let somebody know and get the help he needs. And thank you for restraining because some of these men too, if they were to unleash,
Yeah.
they would do damage.
Mm.
Yep.
They would
Yep.
do damage. And these
Absolutely.
women know it. So women, we're not endorsing this whatsoever. You put your hands on your man. If I was a sister and I'm a Christian, yeah, but don't get it twisted. I'm gonna come after you.
Right. Right.
If that's my son, I'm gonna come after you. Don't get it twisted. I
Period.
will be
Yep.
doing fivefold ministry on you, like
Hmm.
in the name of Jesus,
I bind you. Mm. Mm-mm.
and I will be
That's right.
binding.
I'm telling you. Yeah, Neville.
Yes, no, no, no. I agree with everything that Mercy has said. I have seen this act um, quite a number of times, but not recently. I mean, it's like way back, and I agree that it's stems from upbringing from the home, because if that is what you understand, it's like those parents who beat their kids, that's what they learned. I
Mm.
unfortunately a one who was given quite a good beating many times, and that can cause you to become violent towards people. Again, thank God, I was saved from that sort of from getting into
Situation.
that. you know so I think it's what you grew up with, and perhaps the relationships that you've gotten involved in, and that thing of using that beating as a restraint, as control, is a very terrible thing. And for the women who then turn around to do that, is that eat them before they eat me, get to them before that. So it's a way of self-preservation, but of course it's wrong, and we do not condone that. So please, if you are that way, get help, and the men,
Yeah,
please speak up. The women get help, the
absolutely.
men speak up, please. It's not
Absolutely.
worth it. It's bad for you. It's bad for the husband. It's bad for your kids. It's bad for
That's
your
right.
friends. In fact, it's bad for your network.
Generally, it's bad.
It's not good.
Yeah. Let me quickly take these comments before Cindy quickly shares her own view as well. Solomon says, women who commit domestic abuse always believe they will get away with it because the society is always on their side. So they take advantage of that. The reverse is the case in Muslim countries.
Oh,
Okay, Solomon, expatiate on that.
yeah.
Yeah, expatiate on that. So, are you saying the reverse is the case in Muslim countries because they permit women being beaten in the Muslim countries, or no? Please, we are here to learn. So, expatiate on that, please, for us. PD says couples must work with each other and being corrupted.
How are we
You're not being
corrupting you,
corrupted. We're
GD?
just keeping it real, PD. And obviously, you agree with Neville. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Go on, Cindy.
Yeah, in addition to what Neville and Mercy have said, I think another issue that creates this kind of problem is the fact that these people have always been entitled all their lives, and they are used to getting their ways,
Yeah,
so they don't feel that, they should answer to anybody, and they don't respect authority as well. You'll find out that this kind of people don't respect authority, and
yeah.
they just feel, nobody can tell them what to do, and I would say, and this is very sad because it's so common now, and I'm glad that this issue is being talked about over and over in different circles about men being abused. And I would say that there's nothing to be ashamed of,
At
and
all.
people should stop judging men for the man. And for instance, some of these men, it's not because they can't hit you back, it's because they
Right.
came from good background where they believe they should not touch a woman.
That's right.
And that's the
That's
only way,
right.
because if they touch that woman will probably die with one blow, you
That's
know.
right.
So they
That's right.
restrain themselves, and also I think authorities also, the law enforcement should also take this issue very, very seriously, because I've heard of situations whereby men actually report this situation, that they are being abused, and these police officers laugh
Laugh.
at them.
No, especially in the African countries.
Yeah, they laugh at them. Even in this country, it happens.
Yeah.
They
Mm,
laugh at them. And then how do you encourage men to report such issues when you laugh at them, when you already judge them, you see them as weak? Being beaten by a woman does not mean that man is weak.
No.
It just
it's
shows
just
that
that
the
they were
man
raised
has
well.
a
That's
lot
all.
of self-control.
Yeah. That's right. Okay, let me take these comments from the chat. Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you for joining. Gary is Yellow Mellow Fellow. I like that name, honestly.
Okay.
Gary says he agrees with Neville. Absolutely. Rita says men should have the courage to report such crime, as most of the cases we deal with comes from women reporting men of such crime. This has to stop, as no one should get away with it. 100%, Riri. Thank you so much for that. And Mr. Solomon says, when women abuse their men, it is a clear sign that the woman has lost all respect for the man, and you should just walk away from that relationship and don't look back. That's a point as well. That's a point as well. Um, because once you and it works both ways.
Mm.
Once you hit somebody the first time and they say, "I'm sorry, forgive me," and everything,
Mm.
it's not the last time that will happen again.
Rarely. Mm.
Rarely the last time, because once they do it the first time and they get away with it, they'll do it again and again and again,
Yeah.
and every
Yeah.
single time it gets higher and higher. This time they'll
Mm.
start punching you. You
Escalate.
know.
Mhm.
So I
Because
agree
they're
with
pushing
that.
boundaries, isn't it? That's how it
Absolutely.
starts. It starts. It's
Absolutely.
almost, okay, let me see what I can get away with. Let me see
That's
what I can
right.
do. And then they
Yeah,
keep pushing. And
exactly.
unfortunately, the men, maybe initially they take it lightly. It may start
Mhm.
with just a little, oh, get out, and then you tap their
Yeah,
chest and the man does
yeah,
nothing, or a little
yeah,
push and a shove,
yeah,
and it just gets progressively worse. And it's even worse when the man is just as aggressive as the woman.
yeah.
There are cases like that where it's two-way
Ah,
abuse,
mm, mhm.
and unfortunately, the woman may come off a bit worse than the man. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
what they don't realize, and we hear cases like this where the woman starts it and the man fights back, and it's
Finish it.
like
yeah.
the man, yeah, and the man is getting
It's
the
the one that gets into
told off,
trouble. Yeah,
yeah, because he's
yeah,
fighting back. There are
yeah,
so many men that will shout out, So should I just stand there and allow her to slap me? Should I? What's all this? Like she's been slapping me for and been doing all this, and the minute the man fights back, it's like, oh no,
Mhm.
that was wrong for you to do. But what does a man do apart from walk away? What does a
Yeah,
man do? Does it make it right for a man to to hit a woman back? We can never endorse
No,
anything like
that's
you
right.
know. At the
That's
same
right.
time, both need to get some help.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Because some
Absolutely.
people, it's probably, a toxic relationship that they're not
Absolutely.
aligned, So if the relationship, if the couple are not in sync, but they're just hanging in there because of, the outside pressures, then it's no
It's
good.
not worth it.
Yeah.
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 Or because of children.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. The advocate says hurt women hurt their men. So a woman that has
Yeah,
been hurt before, whether
Hurt
it's
people.
from
it's hurt
Hurt
it's
people.
people.
from
Hurt people.
hurt people, but I think they just wanted to be more specific because it's a woman's show. And this is wrong in all levels. I would totally agree with you, the advocates. And Yellow Mellow Fellow says, Gary, I've been in two relationships where, as the woman, were physically abusive towards me because because of alcohol,
Mhm.
and the other looking for me to retaliate and tell people I'm a violent man. There are
Yeah, so
too many reasons.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Gary, we're going to talk about the next question is going to be about manipulation, how women manipulate to control. We're going to talk about that in a minute because what you've said now is absolutely correct,
Mhm.
right? And Chidi says, if it's porn, I have to close my eyes. Okay. All right.
If what's porn?
So someone says in the Muslim countries, women are second-grade
mm,
citizens or second-class citizens
mm,
and do not have any rights, as society considers women to be men's property,
mm.
which is very true. Which is very
And
true.
bad.
Oh, actually, saying that, Mr. Solomon, I tell you what I even saw. I didn't even want to play because I just felt this is so annoying. Two women on Facebook from the Muslim country, like you're saying, Solomon, they were wearing their, is
Burqa.
it hijab, what they call that
Stuff.
thing?
Burqa.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. They were wearing, and they sat down in a table discussing why it is a blessing for their men to physically abuse them.
Huh?
What?
Because,
I wasn't even
because,
going. Yeah,
because,
go ahead.
like, in the past, I heard things like, "Oh, I hate you because I love you." That is that manipulation for you to then associate being beaten, being
No,
beaten
they were
Love.
with
reading.
love.
They were reading
Sadly,
a book. I don't know if it was the Quran they were reading, but they were reading a book to try to justify why it is a righteous thing for them to be abused physically by their men.
mm.
I wasn't even going to play that video because I
No,
just felt I'm not gonna give this any
any
of my
air.
Love.
time.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Mm-mm.
the most
Let's move on
ridiculous
from
thing I've
that.
ever seen. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Let's talk about
And
this then.
that's a good point you're making because social
Yeah.
media now has
Yeah.
really played a part in exposing a
Mm.
lot of people's mindsets that you didn't even realize people thought the way they think.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep, perfectly.
Social media has now exposed so
Telling you.
many individuals
Yeah.
and their concepts and their mindsets. And it's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
From men to women, women to men.
Yep.
And it's like endorsing certain behaviors that when you say it out loud, it's like, are you for real? Like, can you hear yourself?
Yeah.
Like
Let me
what you
give
were saying,
yeah, let me
Yeah.
even
it's
give you
okay if a
one.
man hits me.
Yeah.
Let
It's
me give
okay
you
for a woman to bark if I tell her to bark. Or my
Mm.
man has to listen to me. There are
Mm.
there are men who like women who dominate them.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
you've seen it. You've seen it. The women walk ahead. The men are on a leash. I think there was one in Brixton one time where the man was on his hands and knees, and the woman was pulling him like a dog. And it's like, what on earth
It's a fetish thing, isn't it? There
is
are
Yep.
some
this
people who
you
world
don't like.
see.
coming
Yeah.
to?
I mean, there's one
Whatever.
that these are young amongst young girls.
Mhm.
This conversation, the girl was saying that she wasn't married. She was in her 20s, and she was like, I don't mind. I don't care if the man beats me as long as he's giving me money and he's spending. As long as he has
Yes.
money, he can
Yeah.
beat me. I don't
Yeah.
care. And I'm like, ah, What
No,
kind
you know
of
what they say? They'll say, "I'd rather cry in a Bentley or Rolls Royce than laugh in a bicycle or a keke
Yeah.
napep."
But that's the thing that, again, back to sort of the cultural beliefs as well. Now it's kind of,
so
in the wider
some girls are
spectrum.
encouraging it?
Yes,
Yeah,
because the parents whose children were, I don't know, fortunate, unfortunate, and they're married into a wealthy place, and they've
yeah,
been ill-treated and want to go back home, that the parents push them back out.
yeah.
Yeah.
To say, come on,
Crazy.
because they're being sponsored by this, families, and it's
Mm,
perhaps a prestigious situation for them to be in, and they don't
mm,
want you to come back. Just enjoy it, take it. I've had, somebody said before, oh, when you meet a man, and he's, give him whatever he wants. What? No, sorry.
honestly.
I have, so it's all those
Let's,
things, and then for the young girls to be talking about that now, because they have no concept of real life, and when you get in there, then you will know. And they say, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Mhm.
exactly. Okay, so she doesn't scream. She doesn't slap in this. We talked about the abusive ones. What about the women who don't physically abuse you? They don't scream at you, they don't slap you or whatever. But what she does cuts deep. She'll give you silent treatment, guilt trips, emotional blackmail, gaslighting. Let's talk about the manipulative woman. I think Gary was saying something about this earlier on. Is she a product of trauma or a control freak, a master of control? Is manipulation a survival tool passed through generations, or is it from a form of emotional abuse, or we're too afraid to name why some women act like that? Somebody dropped a YouTube chat. Hello from Maryland, Priscilla. Priscilla commented, okay, I'm not sure who that is, but yeah, hello, 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 whoever you are. It's not on the chat, but they sent me a message. Maybe they are trying to join or something. But yeah, why do some women feel the need to control, manipulate, guilt trip you, gaslight you, and everything else? Never.
Yeah, this is, again, it's another one of those, it depends thing on where you've come from. Again, so it's trauma. If you've come from a coercive, controlling household as well, because
Mm,
if you have the parents who are telling you, if you do this, you will get that, without that, oh, you didn't do this, and they pit you against your sibling or your friends or that person's child, that is a form of control. And
mhm,
if you those who express, for example, who've been unfortunate and been abused by a parent or an uncle, or any other, a friend, you are gaslit, because that can't be right. This is an upstanding man, woman, person of the community. Yeah. So when people have experienced that sort of situation, especially predominantly from the home environment, that is how you will operate. And
mm,
if you then get into the situation where your friends are that way, or you want to sort of control with money, with all kinds of things, it's to do with trauma of
Mm.
sorts, from home, yeah. So the trauma of having been in a controlling or coercive situation, because and a highly competitive, unhealthy competition can breed
mm.
that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Cindy?
I'm not going to say anything on this because Neville already said everything that I would have said.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, great. Mercy.
Yeah, I mean, manipulation in itself is almost a different level of emotional intelligence, right? So when we talk about emotional intelligence, we talk about the ability to get people to do what you want them to do
Mm,
indirectly. You
Mhm,
know,
mhm,
it's the ability to be resilient. It's the ability to be able to go through certain challenges and circumstances, but yet navigating it to your favor.
mhm.
And we all have, every single one of us have a level of manipulation in what we do. If we're honest with
Yeah.
ourselves and if we're real, the fact is that we all manipulate situations in our favor or to suit our
mm,
circumstances in
mm,
relationships.
Mhm.
The The problem is when you do it intentionally and in a way in which you want to cause that person to be lower than you are,
Subdued.
Beneath you and
subdued.
subdued. Yeah.
Yeah, subdued. And sometimes it's for all the wrong reasons. Sometimes there's a need. There's a need to do that. There are some, let's say, for instance, let's give a scenario. You have a partner who is careless with money. You know, there are certain circumstances, and they're always
Mm,
gambling. Some women go into a relationship or men, and they don't realize that their partner has this issue with gambling, right? What do? You still want your king to feel like a king. You still
mm,
want him to, you know, and if you're from a Christian background, you still want to continue to be that helpmate that empowers him. Yet at the same time, you don't want to use this tongue to pull him down. The smart woman will try and manipulate the situation. How
mm,
can I indirectly get this man to recognize that I need to be the one that holds on to the finances instead of
mhm,
him? What you will do is you will manipulate the situation.
mm,
So you have to recognize what is the reason why you're doing what you're doing. If it
mm,
has good intentions, then it's okay. But if your intentions are selfish, purely selfish, all the time, and it's all about you and it's the you world, me, that's where you
mm.
have a problem.
That's right. That's right.
Yep,
Okay.
agree.
Gary agrees with Mercy completely. Nice one. Phyllis says men are meant to be strong and macho, so they can't speak out as a result of that. Yeah.
Are
Well,
they?
I think
Are
hopefully
they?
that will change now. Hopefully, men should realize that actually it takes a strong man to speak out. Yeah. It takes when I hear men say, "Oh, you can't cry because you're a man," I said, "No, no, 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 no. It takes a real man to be emotional and
Yeah.
to be vulnerable enough to say, I this you this is hurting me." So men, we see you, right? But just there's no need to be macho. You're a human being. You got flesh and blood
Right.
running through your veins. Yeah. So we see you. Um,
And what about the men, sis? What about the men who not necessarily like it, but they're so head over, just like women, head over heels over that woman. Oh, her beauty. Do you know where
yeah,
she's coming from? Oh, she's my
yeah,
princess. They
yeah.
actually endorse the behavior.
Yeah, and
They
they're
actually, they're
yeah,
like, baby, manipulate me. I'm gonna let
yeah.
manipulate me any way you wanna. They remember endorse it.
A trophy woman, so they don't want to lose that woman because it's such a trophy for them, and they don't want their friends or his friends to laugh at them or whatever to say, "Oh, she's left you because maybe whatever," so they will tolerate it.
Hmm.
And the more you tolerate a woman like that, the more they will continue to heap coals on you. Someone says some women settle for abusive relationships, sometimes either due to the benefits of wealth or maintaining religious/traditional reputations. Absolutely. What would the church say? Especially if the man is a pastor, maybe the husband is a preacher,
Yeah,
all right?
I've seen that a lot.
And she's the mommy GO of her church. What will people say, and all that? Manipulation by women, Solomon continues, on men is primarily with the aim of trying to control the other partner 100%. And Gary says, we see adults that blame their current bad behaviors on their upbringing. Nonsense. We have yeah, nonsense. We have a choice to change. 1,000,000%. Gary, I couldn't agree with you more, and we all couldn't agree with
Yes, I
you
mean,
more.
so I won't say that to Gary. Yes, the upbringing plays a huge part,
A big
and
Yeah,
part.
to constantly or continually hang on to that and use that as excuse is nonsense.
yeah,
It does take a while,
yeah,
to overcome those traumas.
yeah,
Sometimes people are not even aware that they've been traumatized, especially when you come from that sort of community. You're not really aware until you actually enter a different setting altogether, and
yeah,
then you begin to see that you're the one behaving oddly. And
yeah.
Yeah.
if you are, aware, or somebody's aware and then tries to help, then please take that help.
Absolutely,
We are
absolutely.
grown-ups now. We cannot continually, hang on to that
Mm.
old.
Yeah.
narrative.
And Mr. Solomon says instead of sitting down and having a sincere discussion and having an open conversation, they manipulate their men. Okay, it's a continuation from the previous conversation. And Deji says, thank you so much, Deji, for joining. Thank you so much. Happy Father's Day to you too. Um, some men like women that are like that because they think, oh, some men like women like that because they think they are strong women.
Yeah.
That's not strength, actually. That's
Oh,
weakness. If you tell
bully.
me, it's
That's a
bullying.
bully.
That's right down. You know those typical. What do they call those girls in school those days? You know, it's just bullying.
It's
It's
bullying.
not allowed. And usually, if you cannot, you're a coward. If you cannot articulate what you feel to get somebody to understand you without having to resort to physical violence, then you have a problem. You should go and seek some help, go and see psychiatrist or whatever, because that's not right. You just
But
can't do that.
what he's saying is that he's a man, and he's saying some men like women who can manipulate them. Isn't this what we were saying before?
Yeah, but
Yeah, that
that's
was what Mercy
manipulating
Mercy
them.
said it before. That
Yeah,
That,
there's some, and he's saying it. He's like some men like, and he's
But
not
it's a
just
fine
saying it.
line.
He's giving us a reason why. From a male perspective, he's saying,
yeah,
well, some men like it because we see that as strength. So why are you complaining that is a bully? He like him. Some of them like him.
Okay, say one thing. Yes, men like strong women who can take charge, who can be organized, who can do things, but not necessarily to begin to beat them and batter them emotionally and physically. I think let's not, because it's like they're conflating the both issues. They're two different things. I don't think
No,
any
we're not
man
talking
likes the
about
woman to be
physical
beating her,
abuse.
beating him up.
No,
yeah,
no, we're not talking about the physical side. We're talking about more the manipulation. The woman who
yeah,
is
yeah,
able
the
to
one, yeah.
somewhat take
Yes,
charge
yeah,
and
exactly. Take
get the
charge.
man to
Yes,
do certain things,
absolutely.
that
Yes,
she wants him to do and knows how
yes,
to do it,
absolutely, absolutely.
you
yeah,
know?
We all do that.
yeah,
So we taking charge is different. Yes, because
yeah,
what's the point in having somebody who can't do anything? Either
exactly,
way, both the men and the women. Some men like
exactly.
to have the women. Okay, that's her strength. Well, my thinking, this her strengths are that she's organized, she takes charge, she does all those things. I let her be. I'll stand in my strength, which I think is the
Hmm.
ideal way. You have sometimes some men competing with it when the woman is knowledgeable about her own bit. He's trying to take control because he is the man. That is the wrong thing to do
Yeah.
as well. I mean,
Mm,
I'm veering off, but that tends to happen sometimes. So stand
yeah.
in your strengths, and then together you'll be great.
That's right. Gary agrees with one of the comments I made earlier about if you're a bully and a coward if you're abusing you know a man or a woman either way. Mr. Solomon says if a woman thinks she's in a higher social class than a man, it can get to a woman's head because the man cannot set boundaries for her,
Yeah, she's
which
insecure.
is
In that
very
case, that's
true.
insecurity for on her
Yeah,
side.
yeah, insecurity on her side and also on his side
Mm.
because he feels, she's probably the main breadwinner of the family, you know. So if she gets angry now, she probably will not even give me food to eat or whatever.
What
Maybe he's
kind
not
of food are
working. He
we
has to go
talking
on
about? Are
job.
we talking about
Exactly.
bedroom
Food.
food or bedroom food or
Both, both.
some women are holding back because of that. They're
Yes,
not giving food in the bedroom and
yes.
Yep.
You have
it's
you
hard
have
work.
people who will tell you that they've not had anything to do with their wives for 1 year, and they are
Yeah.
not
That's like
single. Both
that's
of them are together.
manipulation. That's
Yes.
Yeah,
manipulation right there. If a woman says, "If
yeah.
you don't do this for me, I'm not going to
No.
give you any sex,"
Yes.
And then
that's
they're angry
And
manipulation.
when
there are men
That's
Yeah,
who
the
do
man
that
it's
goes
as well.
out.
yeah, it's part of it, and it's evil.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yes.
that's direct
it's
manipulation.
crazy.
You
It's
know,
crazy. And Mr. J says, not me, oh, but they're out there. So he just said it, it wasn't him. It's just other men, which is totally understandable. And Robin says it's a partnership and not for one party to have any kind of control over the other, unless
mm,
the other partner likes a bit of domination
Yeah.
from time to time. Some men do.
Yeah,
Yes.
which is
That's
what we are
fine.
still. Yeah, that
That's
was what
fine.
Deji was saying.
Yes, yes, exactly what Deji was saying. And Solomon obviously continuing says, as the man is scared, yes, like I said, to lose the woman. So because they are afraid to lose the woman, they will take all kinds of crap. But the man is
mm.
very unhappy.
But I don't
You know,
understand how people would stay in such relationship when they're unhappy, because this thing leads to depression and
Yeah.
anxiety and all sorts. And why would you make, how many years do you have to live on earth for you to
Mm.
live like that for the rest of your life? You have only one
crazy,
life.
Yeah, it's a
crazy.
confidence issue, because if you're in a place where you've been told you can't do any better, you can't get anything, and if that's
Yeah.
being reinforced,
And that's
Yeah,
the thing. Yeah, you're right. They feel they can't get anything better. But
yeah,
believe me, I mean, it's like, especially if you are not married to that person yet,
yeah,
Mm.
it's the time to escape.
run. Exactly.
Because to have a broken relationship is
It's
better than
better.
to have a broken marriage.
yeah.
It's a time to escape. Just
Mhm.
take a
But
walk.
we haven't even touched on the fact that some men tolerate this manipulation and abuse because of what they feel they're getting out of it in the long run. And
Exactly.
I'll give you examples. Papers, they may
Yeah.
Yes,
tolerate. A
exactly.
baby, a
Yeah.
baby, they may tolerate. A job at the
Mm-hmm.
end of it. They're employed by
Your
their
father,
woman helps them.
the
Yep.
yeah.
So they will tolerate,
Mm-hmm.
and that is some people's reality. It's
Yes.
almost about, if you remove that rug from under their feet, actually they will fall apart. You
Yeah,
That's
know,
right.
some of them, once they get the paper, they're out.
They're out.
yeah,
Yeah.
because the woman is holding so much up,
Yeah.
and sometimes, unfortunately, for the men who are not the ones that are stepping up to the plate, who are not leaders, who are not, sometimes, and I'm maybe speaking from personal experience to some degree, when you want your man to lead and you want that person to lead, and they don't, and they're not,
Mm.
and you're still not that person that wants to necessarily put that person down, you do pick up manipulative tools. Why? Because there's things that need to be done and they're not doing it, and you don't want to be direct, so you find ways in which you say
Yeah.
things,
Around them.
or you won't communicate, and you'll just say, okay. And these are all different things that we will do just to get them to do what is necessary, and sometimes it still doesn't work, you
Yeah.
know
Mm.
and, and
Oh
there
no,
are men who they don't know how the bills are paid. They don't know how the shopping is done. They don't know, and the women tend to get to that place where they're starting to manipulate.
Yeah.
You pull the wool out of the underneath those men's feet. It's like, who are you? You're not
Yeah.
anybody now. So I think those women have to be mindful that they don't get to the place where they're losing their sense of respect for their partner.
Yeah.
If you feel you're in that situation
Yeah.
where you're carrying everything and you're doing everything and you've tried to communicate it, you need to seek professional help, because you don't want to be that person who is manipulative, abusive, slowly going crazy, and you're starting
Yep.
to talk to your partner anyhow. I will never ever
Mhm.
agree with or endorse that. It's better you step back, get help, or get out.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Okay. Let's look at this then. When you have a woman that has love, she's loved, she has loyalty, all right? She she gets good sex from her partner. She lives a luxury lifestyle, yet she's still searching. Why? Is it because society expects her to be a certain way? Is it a cultural conditioning? She's never satisfied. She's just addicted to have more. Have we been taught that satisfaction means um, getting everything and still wanting some more? Why are women insatiable? Whether no matter all the bags that they have, no matter all the shoes, I guess it's not just women, even men. They say mankind is insatiable when it comes to their needs and more, but women, it's like they're taking it up a notch. They're always looking for the next thing. Why do you think our gender are like that then, Cindy?
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's number one. People, especially amongst women, we always want to be better than the next person.
Mm-hmm.
As in, and I mean, and that comes to lack of contentment. When you
Mm,
have everything, and then you're still looking at other people and feeling that, and that is where, the jealousy, the envy, and everything, competitiveness comes in. you know you have it, but you want the one that your friend has as well. You want everything. You want to be the one that is noticed everywhere. You want the one that is the center of attention, even though you have everything, you know. And you have some women, you know. I don't know if you've heard this in school, like you have children in nursery, for instance. The party packs. I remember my sister-in-law. She said one day she went to pick her son from nursery. This was back in Nigeria. She went to pick her son from nursery. And then the boy was going to get into the car, and the teacher ran to the car and said, no, you need to come. There's party pack for your son. She went inside. It was a keyboard. Keyboard was the party pack and some other big items. And she was like, you know, those kind of things. You now see that most parents, the next person that is going to have a birthday party, if you are not contented,
It was a
next person that is
TV.
going to have a birthday party, you'll probably be buying a car for all the children in the school.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
nursery.
Crazy.
That's where all these things starts from. It's lack of contentment, because you just want to outdo the other person.
Yeah.
You want to be like the other person. You know, and some people,
Competition.
they are even richer than you, and you are just managing your life, but you're happy. But they want what you have as well. You know, and that is, it still boils down to lack of contentment and greed.
That's right. That's right. Mercy.
Yeah, I think it's been said. It's that element of competition. It's that element of, you know, I want to be better than the other person. But there's also that element of belonging, you know, being part of a social class.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Oh yeah, you know, do you know that I know Dr. Cleopatra? Do you know that she's my friend? I can call her. We hang out at the Hamiltons, and
Spoke to her yesterday.
I spoke to her yesterday. Do you know who I am? Did you know that her father dated? Let me tell you, it's all about that association, right? And we sometimes thrive on that. If you don't have a doctorate, if you don't have if you're not this CEO, you're not called upon. It's all about that social belonging and the social class, and wanting to shine brighter than this person or that person. And we talked about it in one of your other shows, that element of competition and women who are up against each other, and instead of
Yeah.
empowering each other to say, okay, I'm on this platform, come, join me here. And I recognize you, I see you. Instead, we're trying to pull a sister down, if not, we're trying to, the sister hasn't seen you, we're trying to get up there just so that she can see us.
Yeah.
Everybody else can see us. Oh, I want to shine bigger than her, and I think sometimes our concepts are just all messed up. What is the reason why you're doing what you're doing? What is the purpose for you wanting to shine, for you wanting to have that extra, for you not wanting to settle with what you have? It's okay to be ambitious. It's okay to want to thrive, but what is the reason behind you doing what you're doing? And that is the question I would ask. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be better and do better. And I'm kind of sick and tired of people talking about, oh, women who are educated, don't have respect, or women who are educated don't know how to be good wives, or women who have attained high levels of, education or whatever, or have this, and they don't know how to humble themselves. There are women that have everything, yet you'll see them in their homes and they are serving. You'll see them in their environments and they are serving. So I'd like us to kind of be able to get the balance of both. It's not just a one-way thing. Not everybody's trying to pull people down, but some of us, some people do want to be seen for the right reasons. Some people do
That's
want to
right.
do for the right reasons, and I'll kind of leave it there.
Okay, Karen. Cool. Neville?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything, because there's this society that push us to be to not be content with what we have, and to I guess twist competition. We are not in competition with our fellow friends or women. We're in competition with ourselves to make ourselves better in whatever our chosen fields are. It's not to be used as a tool of control,
Yeah.
amongst our friends. Yes, we are supposed to be making ourselves better and encouraging one another to rise up as well, so that we can then work together. I think, there's no point, there's no need to add anything else, but that's it.
Yeah.
Can I say something quickly?
Mm.
And one other thing that I want to add is that some women look for validation from outside. They're looking, they have everything, but they're still looking for someone to validate them. And that means, you lack confidence as well. You lack, you have identity problem. You don't know where you belong. It's just your money. Your money is what brings you out there. And then you're just looking for that validation. But the thing is, you need to validate. And you don't need anybody to validate you. You need to validate yourself. Like I always say to people that if I'm wearing a £5 dress, it's because I'm wearing it that has quality. It's not because it is £5. And you may be wearing a designer, you are looking for someone to validate you. But I don't need anyone to validate me.
Exactly.
It's me. It becomes a big thing because I'm the one that is putting value on what I'm wearing, not what I'm wearing putting value on me.
Correct.
So we need to be able to understand those things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always say to people, or especially women, I'm like, let it be that the only person you're competing with is yourself.
Yeah.
How you can be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I always say, and I say this to people about myself, that what anybody thinks of me is none of my business.
Yeah.
Stay on your lane, do your thing, and keep it moving. Forget about everything else. Because women who act like that, usually sometimes it can also be because of where they grew up or how they grew up, their backgrounds. If people grew up in a home where there's been a lot of poverty, they came from a poverty background, when they now get exposed to wealth, they don't know what to do with themselves. They act the fool. Because now they want everybody to see them. Look at me now, and
I've
all
made
that. And
it.
they're doing the most. Yeah, I made it. I've arrived. They're doing the most. Women usually who grew up in a home where they were very comfortable, they don't need to show anything.
Yeah.
Well,
They're all
however,
right. They don't need to prove anything to anyone.
some
Okay,
of them,
we're
some
looking at
people
time.
who grew up, some people who grew up in that, with wealth as well, if they are terribly insecure, i.e., they're buying people, then
Yeah.
they will be sort of manipulative, controlling, and
Yes.
discontented.
And those women that pretend to have when they don't get me
Yeah.
started on that. There are some women that are doing the utmost
And
to
they
be
keep
seen.
borrowing from Peter and
They're
Paul.
boring. They're boring, and they turn up in stuff, and they want to be like they're the bee's knees, and they are borrowing money. It's like,
Clothes,
girls,
wigs,
stay clothes
shoes.
with woman, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Keep your focus. Stop trying to impress the world. Impress yourself.
Exactly.
Impress yourself. Stop trying to be something you're not. Pretending.
Yeah.
They'll dress up and they'll show up and they'll turn up and these are, and they don't have kobo. They're borrowing.
Exactly. That's how,
No.
with my sort of capacity as image consultant stylist, I'm saying buy the best you can afford. Dress your body according to its shape. Wear the colors that make you glow. You can go and buy stuff from Primark if the cut is right and it fits your body. If the
I'll have
color
you
is
know.
fantastic, and your hair,
Or
you don't have
Primani.
to buy expensive. You can, do your hair. Ensure that the style that you're wearing, be it your own natural hair or a wig or thing, suits the shape of your face. You don't have to go and be like somebody else. When you do those things, you will stand out. And people will not understand. In fact, people will assume that you're wearing very expensive items if the color is right, if the fit is right, and if your hair is well kept, whatever the natural or whatever. And your skin is not carrying makeup and plastering. Your skin needs to be fantastic. I've seen looked after. Of course, people. I'm not talking about if you have a challenge, skin wise. Do the things that will help your skin.
Yeah.
Don't hide it
Yeah.
under makeup, because then you're doing more damage. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
clean,
Absolutely.
have a clean, nice skin, have a nice, easy beauty, skin care regime. Wear makeup, use the right color foundation, wear the right
Proportion.
color lipstick, wear the right colors eyeshadow, the right color eyebrows, mascara. All those things will help you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me take this from the chat, and then we'll move on to the next question real quick. Someone says, not being contented is due to greed or seeking validation or lack of maturity and self-discipline. 100%, Solomon, you are totally correct. And Gary says, yes, women should validate themselves, but that is also part of a man's role. Raise up your partner. Put her on a pedestal. She is a queen.
Not
Gary,
badly behaved women.
you are totally correct, Gary. We
Yeah.
totally agree 1,000,000%.
Yes,
You know,
we
1,000,000
respond to
percent.
that.
Okay. Now, she looks like a goddess, well, to the world, but she loathes her reflection in the mirror. She
Mm.
hates the mirror. So, filters, fillers, BBLs, Botox, body hates are swallowing women in our society nowadays. Why is self image such a brutal battlefield? What is the cost of never feeling good enough? And how can women break free from this prison of this body dysmorphia? What is it? Why are women like this? Yeah, Mercy.
I mean, it's a big one, and I think there's so many layers to it. But Neva, she attended one of my workshops where she was the guest speaker, and this was the exact thing that we were treating, and it was so interesting. I may let you share the story, Neva, about the young lady who was telling us about her journey, and
Mm,
she'd come to the workshop, and Neva had posed the question, does anybody have any issues with their body? And I never saw it from the other person's perspective. I've always kind of been a little bit judgmental when it
mm.
comes to seeing, people with the BBLs, or, back in the day, it was just about breast enhancements. Every woman
Oh,
wanted big boobies, and me with my small chest, I was like, well, I've got a small one, but I'm going to manage it. But it's shifted to backsides. Now,
oh yeah.
10 years ago, I never had to justify my booty. Now it's like people are asking me, is it real? Listen,
Yeah.
it's always been real. God made it. Stop trying to downplay my booty that God gave me. It's mine, you know. But
Honest.
interestingly enough, going back to the question, interestingly enough, this young lady told us about why her preconceptions came. And she spoke to us about things like social media, the fact that back home, her family members, heavy chested, but had a backside as well. But she, for some reason, didn't. So she always felt ostracized. She always felt like, if she wasn't good enough. She always looked in the mirror and wondered, is she too fat? Is it a weight thing? But she's slim. It's just
Yeah.
these parts that are, and
Dysmorphia.
so Nevo
Yeah.
took the time to talk to her about that, and it was so impactful to just listen to why she felt the way she felt. And sometimes we shouldn't judge when we do see people who have done these things or are thinking about it. We need to step back and do the we listen, we don't judge first,
Mm-hmm.
and then find ways to connect them to the right people so that, like Neva, who are able to talk them through other ways to
Yeah.
better value yourself, because some of it is psychological, some of it is because of what they've experienced, the
Mm.
bullying. As a young person growing up in the UK, being dark skinned was always a problem. I used to get bullied in school. Oh, you're too black. Look at your this, look at your that. And those very things that I was bullied for are the things now that people adore. I get stopped. Oh my gosh, your skin is so beautiful. It's so dark. My tree trunk legs are big, and they're like, wow, look at your calves. They're nice. So society will give us different perceptions. But what is important is how you perceive yourself.
Yes.
It's, well, who does God say you are? What do
Mm-hmm.
you think you are? How do you think of yourself? And if you are feeling a way about yourself, then definitely do something about it. in that you have to have a mindset change.
Yeah.
There may
Okay.
be things that you can practically do. And again, I'll relate to Neva, but sometimes the mental and, health element of it needs to be dealt with as well.
Yeah.
Put together your mental, your spiritual, and your physical. All those things combined will change the way you perceive yourself.
Okay. I'm looking at the time. We are almost running late now.
Oh
So
gosh,
very quickly, never. Yeah, but
dinner time.
never. Yeah,
Yeah, no, no,
yeah,
no,
never.
no. I agree with everything. I think societal pressures are not helping. I'm hearing in the news there are kids as young as, well, even under 10, doing all kinds of things, talking about things. And I also want to point out about the mothers who constantly criticize themselves in front of their children and their daughters. Please, if you're doing that, it's a very unhealthy thing. The child knows no better, and if you constantly keep pointing your thighs, your stomach, your bottom, your
Mm,
breast, your skin, your wrinkles that you may not even have, but you're seeing things that are not there. I think it's kind of a very unhealthy thing. And as Mercy said, we're not here to judge. We're here to encourage and to help and to empower you to reframe how you see yourself. And that's what I say to my clients when I have the ones who come and they concerned about this bit of their body, that bit of their body, or something has happened. They've had the trauma of illness, or they just have other types of things happen to them in life. And even nothing happens, but they're just sort of dealing with that sort of societal pressure of, oh, I'm fat, I'm not like that, I should be like this, I shouldn't be like that, I should have this hair, my hair should be straight, it should be this, it should be that, it's too curly, it's too wavy, it's too, there's too much. And we need the start point, as I always say as well, is here we need to we speak into the mind first, because once you've, anyone who's done those things have tweaked these bits or even not had any tweakments, and they were naturally okay, but they have in the minds that they don't look a way that they're supposed to look. No matter, how glam you look, what your expensive clothes you have, you never feel satisfied. So again, back to that contentment. It's speaking to the mind. And I would say it's reframing how you see yourself. It's not always easy. It's not as straightforward as that. It's not as simple, but it's that appreciation, that gratitude. I talk about this a lot. The gratitude for being intact, for being alive and well and functioning. Should
Yeah.
be one of the things that we put on the number one list.
Okay.
And if there are problems with weight, either too skinny or too full figured, and if it is impacting your health, then we, of course, need to look into that. We mustn't forget that our health is important and that without that, we're nowhere. So that mental health, that emotional, mental bit we need to speak to, and then, look after our health and anything else.
Okay.
And we need to do the right things for us. If we want to lose weight, do the sensible thing, do it the sensible way,
Okay.
and
Okay.
seek
All right.
help. Seek
All
help.
right. Okay. Thank you, Cindy. Real quick.
Yeah, one of the things that I think causes this is the celebrity culture. Because those you look at celebrities online, on social media, on everything, and every young girls want to be like them. But and there's some, celebrities have the money to do whatever they want to do. They can change their appearance and whatever, So, but for me, I would say, for me, I was one of those who had serious body image problem when I was growing up. And it all started from my older brother, who was always laughing at me about my legs, said you've got calves and all that. He would laugh at me. Secondary school, I was bullied about my legs. It's always about my legs and all that. So I lost so much confidence in myself. I thought, I was ugly, I wasn't good. So you would always see me cowering when I'm in the midst of friends. I was not confident at all. So growing up, by the time I got into uni, and then I think I've actually finished uni before I started to have confidence in myself. And I thought to myself, I said, why do I need to satisfy anybody? Why do I need to live for anybody? Because I have to make myself happy. And the truth is that if you're not happy, if you look into the mirror and you're not confident in yourself, you're not happy, you can never be a good person to other people, because you will always transfer that aggression or whatever you have inside of you, which is bitterness or whatever, to other people. And one thing about bitterness is that because by the time you grow into this thing, you have bitterness within you. Have you ever seen anybody that is bitter that is pretty or handsome? No, they always look ugly because it reflects on their physical appearance. You know, so when you start seeing people that are looking ugly and all that, just know that there's some element of bitterness in there, because God has created everybody to be pretty, beautiful, and handsome.
In their own way, absolutely.
Yeah, in their own way.
Absolutely.
Sister Cleopatra, why did you say it like that? No, some people are in their own way. Praise the Lord.
because I tell you why I said that. I said that because some people, they may not be physically well,
Aesthetically,
aesthetically pleasing to the eye.
You're trying to be polite. You're trying to be polite.
I'm being honest. There are some people that, but the thing is, I tell you why I said that. I know of a couple, the woman is the most beautiful woman in the world. Let me just leave it there, right? This man is older and a bag of chips. But why did he marry this woman?
Charms.
Amazing human being she is. Amazing. And even though she may not be the most beautiful woman, when you are in her presence, her beauty shines forth. And even the physical look is, you see grace, you see glory, you see beauty, you see this aura of everything about her is beautiful.
Yes.
And
I can see why he adores her.
Exactly.
Yes.
So beauty is fleeting. Beauty is a facade. Beauty is look, you can be the most beautiful woman in the world, but if your attitude is rubbish, forget it. You are the ugliest girl in town. Excuse you. Excuse you. And that's on period. Let it be known.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Let it be known.
I agree, because again, I was going to add that if you know, I have seen beautiful women and handsome men. You know, at first glance, you're like, oh my God, and then they open their mouth and
open their mouth,
and you just do a U-turn. You know, this beauty, this thing, you know, that God has given us, given me, given you, given everyone, is to be appreciated. It's not to get fat-headed about.
Yes.
I was made, it was used against me when I was much younger. I don't stand for that crap anymore. You know, and you know, and I felt diminished for a very long time, but thank God all that is over.
Absolutely.
This is a gift, and I appreciate it. And it is a door opener. I say, when the doors are open, you better make sure that you have a brain and you have good things to sustain it. Give out. Otherwise, as quickly as you were invited, you'll be flung out.
That's right.
Anyone who's
can I tell you the West Indian saying? The West Indian saying is, "I'm not ugly, I'm just hard to look upon."
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? I'm not ugly, man. I'm just hard to look upon. Yeah, some people are not ugly. They're just
even better.
You know, hard to look at. You know.
You just hard to look at.
It's just hard to look upon. It's just hard to look upon. I'm not ugly.
Absolutely. Wow, guys, what can I say? It's been an amazing. Let me quickly take this comment from Solomon because we need to close now. Yes. And Deji says, "Lord have mercy." Hey, I agree with you. Actually, Gary says, "I believe women compete on every level, compare themselves to others, so we'll go to lengths to fit in. Another reason why partners should assure them of their beauty." True. And then Solomon says, women lacking self body confidence is due to women having weak minds because of this social media pressure, this page 3 girls thing. You know, is there still page 3 girls? Do they still have that?
No. We don't
okay,
have
because
anymore.
I think that was a long time ago.
And
Okay, listen, we need to go. So I'm just going to make my quick summation before we go. Seriously, a show have we had tonight. Thank you so much to my amazing guests. Honestly, you guys, your words of wisdom were invaluable. And thank you for to my co-host in the chat for all your comments. It's really, really honestly appreciated. Thank you so much. What we witnessed tonight is not we're not gossiping, it's not drama. It's us holding the mirror to ourselves, peeling off the masks and being real with ourselves as women, right?
Yeah.
We're acknowledging the areas where we need to improve so we can become the best version of ourselves. So to
Mm.
every woman hiding behind pain, yeah, to be perfect, you don't have to fake it anymore.
Yeah.
If you're not happy in your relationship, please speak up. But always remember that if you're going to speak up, do so in love. You don't have to disrespect your partner because you're trying to make a point. It's not
Yeah.
what you say, it's really how you say it.
Yeah.
If your man is not satisfying you, work with him to seek help. Don't make it worse by demeaning him. It's not right. And if you're manipulative or the control type, please, I beg of you, just consider a more positive approach. You can always, you find out that when the more, if you consider a more positive approach, you will yield better results, actually, to be honest with you. Yeah. So to every man loving a woman he does not understand, the Lord is your strength.
Amen.
Yeah, honestly, what our advice is just learn to listen to her, listen to her body language, what she's not saying, her silence, it speaks volumes. So if you're in that situation, just be more in tune with her. And hopefully one day she will speak up. I pray women, please speak up, but say it in the most loving way. Yeah. And so everyone watching tonight, we're not trying to blame ourselves as such. We're just, exposing things that we should do better. It's not about, we're trying to break every chain that's holding us and that's preventing us from having good relationships with our partners. The
Mm.
truth is, love is transparent. If you really love somebody, you'll be open with them. There's no need to hide anything. Love is open, love is honest. And freedom comes when you finally stop pretending. For those women
Mm.
who like to live, I'm telling you, you know, um, please, if you've learned something tonight from this show, I'm asking you to comment, like this show, share. If you have not done so already, please subscribe. I need my 1,000 before the end of June, and we're already midway through June. Yeah,
Gonna
we're 15 days to the end of June. So please subscribe. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. I don't know why it's a big deal to subscribe. You don't have to pay a dime. You just click on subscribe. That's all you need to do. Please support me. Yeah, and subscribe. And once
have-
again, happy Father's Day to all the
Yeah.
kings
Yeah.
in the chats. Happy Father's Day. Thank you for being
Say,
wonderful man. We love you. We see you. We appreciate you.
yeah.
And thanks again to my fantastic queens who have shared their words of wisdom tonight. You are phenomenal, and you know it. You know it. You know it. And to my amazing virtual co-host, thank you. You are just the best. I love you. I am Cleopatra, and this is Empower Life. So thank you so much. Until next time, stay bold, stay kind, and most of all, stay empowered. Okay. Good night, guys. Thank you so much for
Good
joining.
night,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Good
Bye,
night.
guys.
Bye.
Good night. Thank you, Queens.
Empower life with Cleopatra. Awaken the best version of you. Unlock your true potential. Empower your mind, body, and soul. Live with intentions, live with a purpose. Empower your dreams, make it happen today. No matter your age, rise and shine. Live boldly, live authentically. It's your time to rise and shine. Empower life with Cleopatra. Awaken the best version of you. Your journey starts today. You've got one life to live. Love yourself, be kind to others, break free and let your spirit soar. Empower Life with Cleopatra will help you awaken the best version of you.